We'd like to welcome everyone to the village board meeting at 7 o'clock Monday, February 10th, 2025. Well, the roll call of officers.
Pete Anzia, Roseanne Guide, Sarah Heisler, Chris Clear, Rose Sowers, Kevin Schuler, and Dan Wolf.
Open meeting law compliance check.
We are in compliant.
Y'all can stand for a pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Have any public input?
I just got a couple things, in your package. You should have seen that, we'll be able to secure some grants and donations, so the AEDs for the parks are purchased and the heating units. We do have in our production, assuming the other ones up over there, we'll get them installed in the parks and get that logged into the sheriff's department, so if anyone needs them in the parks, they just have to call 911 and get the code, open them up, so. We have spots picked out for it, so we could be hoping the ones up here in the next month or two, we can get them in, so. And then the Life Pack 35, the AED for the rescue squad that we put in the budget last year. We met with the vendor this week. So that, we just met with them last week, Wednesday. Not sure if I had it in their packet or not, I think this was since then, but, so we have a price on that. We're just doing a little tweaking on the cost on the extended warranty and some other little bells and whistles on it that we're not sure we need. So as soon as we have that final price in that, I'm gonna get a copy of that invoice to Vicky. We'll order that up. It takes about three weeks to get. And then, just want to bring up to you, it should be in your packet also that you have that, or you should have notified, I think. We scheduled a meeting for February 26th at 7 o'clock to discuss the purchase of a new engine. So I'll have, the quotes and all that. Just for 3-6 days, I'll email those to her probably the next day or two here, along with just an explanation of it all, and then you can look them over before the meeting if you have any questions, let me know, but otherwise, February 26th at 7 o'clock.
At the firehouse.
At the firehouse in the county, too, so, okay.
Anyone else have any public input? Okay, thank you. Belgium Area Chamber of Commerce, Melissa was not able to get here tonight. The only thing she had for a reminder was March 1st is that Berg Brennan, or People Farms, where they burn the pallets to burn away winter, bring in spring. It starts at 5 o'clock, the burn is at 6 o'clock. Come show up, she asked, so that's all that the chamber had. Next we have village marshal report.
All right, for January, it was a pretty slow month. I issued 24 parking tickets. And I didn't have one phone call the whole month for any complaints, and it was a pretty slow month.
No complaints.
Nope, not one complaint the whole month, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Get the dogs together.
Other than that, it was just the parking tickets.
Leon, I just want to confirm those numbers that you have on your report. That's the parking tickets that you wrote at that particular shift. Is that
Yeah.
what that represents?
That little number behind it, yeah,
Thank-
that way I remember.
I did get a question from one of my neighbors. As far as. How early can they put their garbage cans up? And I thought it was Thursday at 5, is the earliest.
It is in the ordinance. I would need to, I can look it up and get back to you on that.
The complaint is, because our one neighbor puts them out like one day morning. And then like this last week, their garbage is flying everywhere. And so
I think that's
it ended up
early.
in their yard. And I was like, and they knocking on my door, and I'm like, come on, it's not even my turn yet. I was gonna tell them where people is, but. I was like, so I said I would ask, about it, but this isn't the first time they've mentioned it to me. As far as that, so, yeah, it was, and Wednesday was a pretty rough day with the, I was like, why is your garbage on anyway, Wednesday?
I will
Well, it was
email,
still up there Thursday, so whatever, I forgot whenever they had started with the wind, but I was like, it was everywhere in the guy's yard, I was like, oh, why are you walking away?
I will email all of you, and Leon with the answer to that
Okay,
tomorrow.
and then now my question is, should he call Leon, should he just call the village?
Well,
Like, who should he call?
once we get the right ordinance and stuff,
Yeah.
send me an
I
email
know.
and I'll go over and talk.
Okay, perfect.
Anything else for village marshal? Okay, then we'll move on to consent agenda items. Make a motion to approve village board meeting minutes 12/9/2024.
I'll second.
Motion made.
Oh, one nine.
January's minutes?
Yeah. It's not supposed to be 12, sorry, I messed up.
1995.
We could have another Christmas party tonight.
Okay, motion made second. Any other corrections or complaints?
Nobody caught that. No, none of you caught that until now.
You're right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. We have no unfinished business, we'll go to new business. 10-1, approve plan commission's recommendation to approve ordinance number 1-25 to amend 236-14.f expenses, which is
Pete, it's actually finance and personnel, not plan commission for 1 and 2.
So this was asked, this was discussed at, finance and personnel, and, I did ask Brad to, draft an ordinance to this effect. Do you want to just highlight?
Put them all as a draft, just. Yeah, I mean, basically, instead of having it where you have to look at the costs for the incurring the charges for the snow removal. I think the recommendation from the finance committee was just have a step fee. And put that fee in this ordinance, which is fine, except at some point, obviously. Maybe a 5 years from now, or whether maybe that fee won't be adequate, so that would be. The board want to consider it at that time. And then also, I just changed the notice procedure, so. Basically, if it's not paid, within 6 days after the bill is mailed, and then if it remains unpaid, then it can be basically put on as a charge under the tax bill.
I'll make a motion that we approve, the ordinance number 1-25 as amended.
I'll second.
motions are made and seconded. Any additional information? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. 10-2, approve finance and personnel recommendation to approve policy on assignment of equipment sale proceeds. That is just when, we retire some equipment and buy new equipment. The money that you get from the old equipment goes back into the capital funds. Which is, that's where the money comes out of anyway, so.
I'll make a motion to approve. The policy on assignment of equipment sales.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. 10-3, approve the following list of nominated election inspectors that have been contacted and agreed to serve as election inspectors for the next 2 years. Teresa?
So these election inspectors did their 2-hour, 3-hour training. So you just have to prove them again. And they're all the same ones that we just, right, and this is all the same ones that we've had. They just had to renew their classes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the slate of election inspectors as amended.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 10-4, bid proposal for trade station. Danny?
Yeah, this is, it's supposed to be in the budget, but somehow it forgot to get in the budget. So we had a staff meeting on Tuesday last week to talk about the space station. go to that tower number 2 that reads all our meters and everything, we get data from that. And it's getting close to the life expectancy of it, if it goes down in the middle of the quarter or something to the billing cycle. So when we bid this up back in October, it was $40,000, and now it's at 43, so we didn't know if we should wait till next year. Then it could be close to 50, or when we thought we'd put it on the agenda tonight to see if we can get it approved.
So it is not budgeted. It would be coming out of fund balance, half water, half sewer. I don't have our final, or even our draft per se of the financial statement, but it does appear both fund balances for water and sewer have increased since last year, which means we had a very good year. So this should not have any significant impact on our fund balance from either fund.
From, did like the whole budgeting.
Yeah, and they sent us the draft, some initial draft numbers. They're not final yet, but you know, like I said, both fund balances actually increased, which means we had a very positive year.
You addressed why this didn't get on the budget to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, it was discussed, but somehow between that and when we had public utilities meeting, it got missed. It was just an oversight.
Shouldn't be repeated.
I would hope not, no.
So it was put in 2012 when you put it's basically a computer. So, Jackson's been having problems with theirs, and theirs is the same age as ours, so it could go out tomorrow, or it could last 5 years.
I got mine.
We're all on a new one.
Yeah, same life expectancy, it's got about 12 to 16-year life, 15-year life expectancy, so.
It would be a very not good thing if it went down when we were in a billing cycle.
And I guess my fear is like Danny said, when he did it in October, it was, 3,000, unless we wait another year, it's gonna be
That
8,000
goes to
more.
50.
Yeah,
If it keeps going up the rate it is.
right.
How many of these things do you own?
Just one. It collects all the data on the water meters, and then the collection system for the data.
Is this gonna be more accurate than the one we have now? That, like, Stephanie, you talked about loss of so many gallons of water.
That's not, this is just collecting the data, so it's gonna be the same.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the bid proposal for the base stations.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion passes. 10.5, T-Mobile agreement, discuss finance and personnel recommendation and new lease agreement offer. Lisa, you wanna handle this, or?
Well, so we discussed it and they wanted 1,750 for whatever, what is the term? Another 5 or
The contract they were proposing was for $1,750 per month with a 15% escalator, which would have been taking a very large reduction in our rate as well as reducing our escalator. The Finance and Personnel Committee was recommending not to accept that agreement. We notified the representative for T-Mobile of that, and he came back and said, would you consider keeping the existing terms and adding and extending it for another, 20 to 25 years?
correct.
So the current agreement that they have sent over, which Brad will touch on, because I did send it to him to review, is keeping our rate is due to go up in June to $2,488.32 per month. And that would run the next 5 years to run out the lease, at which point the amendment would kick in. The rate would stay the same and the escalator would be the same. The next time it would increase would be 2035. So there would be 10 years with no increase, but it would still be increasing in June. So
the increase in June to the 2,488.32, what?
that's what's going to happen regardless.
Okay,
But then it would, our current agreement ends in 2030. So the way that I understood reading this and from his email is that the amendment that he's proposing will start when our current agreement ends. And then in 5 years, it will escalate 20% every 5 years after that. Brad, do you?
And that sounds from, I appreciate that background. The document doesn't really state that. That's the problem I have and, you know, what the revisions they sent to us. I'm not sure why they're not using the terms from the original lease, but what Vicky's saying is, you know, we're coming up on the fifth term of the original lease.
Okay,
And again, that's what she said, that's a 5-year term and that would expire in 2030. The dollar amount that from what I understand from this, what they have in this proposed amendment, the revisions, you know, that matches that. I'm not sure why they're not calling what it is, and that would be term 5. And then we'd have additional terms, just call them term 6, term 7, or you know, whatever is required. It was pretty confusing when I read it. I was trying to figure out who's, you know, doing the revisions with, you know, because one we had down below, obviously from a dollar standpoint, and that's what the board decided, but it certainly matches what already has been established here. But I'm not sure why they even reference, if you look at the first paragraph, why they're talking about the 4 additional terms there. If they're talking about adding those on, I mean, it's just, to me, that's what happened in the original one. And
Right.
we had that part of the lease, so and it's referring to the original 2000 date, so I don't see what the gentleman, you know, represented would happen, but I think I have enough information, I can, you know, make it a little clearer and make sure we're on the same page. So Vicky, just so I understand, was that an email communication or? verbal?
Well, so I got that from where it says at the expiration of the lease, which is number 1,
Yeah.
it will automatically be extended for 4 additional and successive 5-year terms.
Okay.
So it expires in 2030. And then because down below, he said that the 20% will start on 2035.
Right, that makes sense when you explain it.
Yeah.
It's just really kind of convoluted.
It's not worded,
Right.
yeah.
And, again, I don't think it would take a whole lot to, you know, make it, you know, much clearer. The one item also while we're looking at this is, and I need to make sure I have like the original full lease, because the one letter that came with this when we wanted to renegotiate was 1 page, and
Mhm.
I want to make sure I have the most we want, just to go through it this time. But the one thing I saw is if they're gonna do a non-renewal, so if they decide after the first extension of the, you know, at the end of 5 years, they wanna non-renew it, they only have to give the village like a 30-day notice. I think that's really inadequate. I mean, at a minimum, I've seen in the other, agreement, I'm not sure if this is for the same one, there's like a 90-day notice. But it'd be really nice if we had something like 180-day notice, so that would get us time for planning and budgeting that,
Right.
they're doing non-renewal, and then this stream of revenue wouldn't be available if they did that. Obviously, I don't think they're planning on doing that, they would be going through this to try to extend it.
Right.
But
So the person that we've been dealing with works for Catalyst and he's negotiating on behalf of T-Mobile. So he said that if the board approves this, he would take it to T-Mobile for them to review and approve. But certainly if you want Brad to draft changes to the amendment and send that to him and say, this is what we are proposing, then he can forward that to T-Mobile and see what
I
they,
think that's the better, yeah,
okay.
it's on your plate, Brad.
Do we know for removal, was it addressed in the original contract? That's the one thing.
I can email you that tomorrow, the original documents, because we do have them.
Just to make sure we're covered, if at some point it's a non-renewal, but.
I think we do, like, we're gonna put in 180 days, that. I like, you know,
And then, Brad, I think it's item 6 here. About if we ever want the towers, if the tower ever gets painted. And if the painter needs them antenna removed, I think that's covered in like -6, and you're go over that.
Yeah, I'm not aware of a big situation where Peter has to remove them. I
Well,
think they
some
protect
painters
them.
don't paint the towers if the antenna are on.
Really?
Yeah. So we gotta make sure that we get that in. In there.
Mhm.
The last time the painters came and painted, they didn't need to take them off, but,
Okay.
you know, be
And
another.
this language looks like it's, allowing for a one-time. When we're required to relocate another one student from the lease. So if, again, do we know the schedule for?
Well, it was painted probably 3 to 5 years ago, so they could last another 5, and that could last another 10.
Okay.
Usually they go 10 to 15 years. That's part of our maintenance agreement, so whenever they. You know, if it's rusting a lot or if the paint is chipping,
Mhm.
Oh, they get inspected.
it gets visual inspected then once a year, every year. Then every 3 years it gets flushed out. Washed out inside. And they, go inside and check if the inside needs painting.
And if I'm reading what's now the new proposed 7 for the temporary,
Yeah,
it's making it though that. It can be done, but then we percent of logs will be incurred by tenant required to accommodate the work.
And I don't know if any of that is changed from the original agreement or not, so.
Background, I think I saw was this previously proposed a change back like in 2018 or 19, does anyone know?
Oh, they've come and asked us for amendments many times.
Yeah.
I believe that our,
I feel like it's once a year.
yeah, I believe that the original agreement is the one that's still in effect, and it was with, Singular was who originally became
Yeah.
T-Mobile or something like that, but
Yeah, looking at it. And even in that,
that's great.
it looks like it's voice stream, PCS.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Probably signed the singular and another.
So, table this till next month, till all the language is cleared up, or?
Fine, so.
yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that you guys want Brad to
Yeah.
correct this, send it to them, and then if,
Can I ask a question? Maybe we should throw in, or maybe we should get a escalator, everything. I mean,
there is an escalator in there of 20%.
yeah, but this ain't,
Not until 2030, though.
I thought we always had it every year went up 20%.
No, it's always been 5 years. They would never agree to that.
Maybe we should do it every 5 years.
That's what is in here now.
But you told me last week it was one time and that was it.
No, it's for every 5 years, but it doesn't start until 2035 would be the first increase.
So
It started in
2030,
2030.
we wouldn't get it.
That's when it should start at 2030.
Yeah,
Throw it in there.
I mean, can we change that?
Absolutely,
That-
just negotiation
Yeah.
and they have to go back and.
Yeah,
Get approval and
yeah, I think we should change it to 2030.
so we can basically go on the 5-year.
Yeah,
renewal.
why do we need to change it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know why. I mean, clearly they're just hoping to
Their
get
job is to
something,
do that.
right?
Right.
So but if we were to follow the extending, the
Right.
current schedule, the next increase would have been 2030.
Right,
So-
Which really then goes back to, we're kind of getting to where what we already have, so
Right.
it may not be much of an amendment, except it could be extended for longer terms.
sure. Yep,
They come, I mean,
yeah, allow me to go back. Do we have to make a motion?
I think,
Or is it-
John, if you want to give me some direction,
Yeah,
what I send or we send, that is not binding.
Okay.
Like we say, this is
Yeah.
what our draft.
right,
So, and
Okay.
when we come back, if we give word back, and then we can bring it back to the board next month.
right,
We'll address removal cost or, 180 days,
the escalation.
in 5 years.
So basically, they wanted, they pitched lowering of the monthly price.
Right.
Lowering the escalator.
Yeah.
And now they're basically looking, okay, we'll come back to what was the original schedule.
Exactly,
What they were looking to do is not have another
Yeah.
escalation.
for 10 years, yeah,
For 10
between
years.
that, yeah, for. I won't say no.
Okay, so we'll table that till next month.
For that.
Okay, do I have one reminder yet for February 26th joint meeting between the fire department and the village for fire equipment? And that is a meeting we should all be there for. It's just like a budget meeting. I mean, we all need to know what's going on.
That's the 26th, that's up.
26th at 7 o'clock at Belgian Firehouse.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.